Hello, hello, and welcome to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network radio, TV, and podcast, the number one internet talk network. You are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with your host, Mallory McGary. If you want to get in touch with me, please email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com or visit my website at www.beautifullyblooming.com, and you'll see everything else that I have there to offer. As a first of this show, I want to welcome all of you with open arms into my space and into this new world. My platform is helping you find your mindset and moving forward in creating a healthy mindset for the 2022 year. Wow, that seemed to go really fast. The last 2 years are kind of a blur. So for the 2022 year, setting your intentions, getting your mindset in the right place to reach the goals and dreams, and just to have a healthier new year and maybe overcoming some obstacles that you've had over the last 2 years or that are creeping up back into your life. So first, I'm just going to give a little intro into who I am, since this is new for both of us. I want to be as transparent as possible. I am a mama, as you can tell by my toys back here on my desk. I have a little boy who's 2 and a little girl who is 5 months old. And I am doing the exact same thing that most of you are trying to do, is find the balance between working, reaching for my dreams, and being a parent, being a mom, being a dad, just whatever that is in your life, that role that you play. So welcome. I want you to feel like this is a good home base for you as we're building this community and helping out each other. So for today's episode, I am going to talk about setting that healthy mindset because it is the new year. I chose this year for the first time to not do any resolutions or pick a word of the year like I have done in the past. Kind of felt like 2020 and 2021 were rebuilding years and growth years. And so I wanted 2022 to stay the same. I also have not claimed 2022 to be my year. I tried that for both 2020 and 2021, and that theory didn't quite work out as well as I wanted it to. But I am just here in trying to learn how to grow and be a better person, be a better human, be a better woman, be a better mom, be a better wife, and be all better at whatever other role I play in my life. So I'm learning and growing from you. If you have topics and subjects that you would like me to hit on, please email me or reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss those and get you the answers that you're looking for. And I'm also here to just be a safe space, maybe help you feel like you're a little more validated in where you're at. That's where I just want all of you to feel like this is a home, a second home away from where you're at, and just kind of getting maybe new ideas. So to jump into this lovely, awesome topic of mine, which is my favorite, we got to kind of go backwards into this a little bit. We got to do what mindset actually means. And it's an intention or a fixed place of where you want to be or where you're at. So we can always flip that. You don't have to always be stuck in the box that you are in. You don't have to be the same all the time. We are multifaceted humans. I am a multifaceted person as well as you. And you have lots of different things that make up who you are. Maybe you like to be outside and be outdoors and do things inside and indoors at the same time. Whatever that is in your life, we are multifaceted. And so mindset is the same thing. It's a multifaceted thing. It's not the same for every situation. It's not the same for everything, every role you play in your life. There's a different mindset to be in. And as going through the new year into these amazing new goals that you have, if you've set them, if you haven't, if you're trying to do stuff still from last year, that is still something in your mind to set those and to make them achievable, we've got to work on getting out of the box a little bit. Sometimes it takes getting out of the box and spreading our wings a little bit and stretching ourselves. We learn to get comfortable in the uncomfortable. And that's where I've been for the last about 5 years. When I started my business, I was not an entrepreneur by any stretch of the imagination. I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of coaches. I've had a lot of help to become where I'm at. I've gone through my own journey to make it where I'm at. And I have learned that through that, I am not always in the mindset and stretching myself and becoming comfortable in the uncomfortable. I was able to accomplish more and to give myself the permission to try and maybe fail, maybe succeed. But I didn't ever see it as failing. I saw it as learning, and I saw it as growing. There were things as I started my business that I started one business thinking I wanted to go down a different path, and it never felt authentically true to who I was and to what I wanted to share with the world. So I let it die. And I learned, I grew, I found really where I wanted to be in my life. But I also was able to shift and to really find the things that made me who I am. And part of my story and part of what I offer on through my website and things like that is to find what I call my mom identity, and finding my who I am as a mom and as a woman. I can be both because I was someone before I became a wife and before I became a mom. And that person still exists, and I still need to nurture that person, because in the end, and when I have gone through this journey to discover this, that I became a better mom, I became a better wife, I became just a better understanding person of people around me. I was more supportive in the things people were asking me to do or needing that extra support for their dreams and their goals. And I also didn't feel guilty for stepping into the person that I am, and also feeling guilty of having what I call mom guilt, of being able to say yes to myself and filling up my cup. Because I know as a mom and as a parent that as we step into our role as a parent, we kind of absorb the identity of our family and the things everybody else in your family needs. Maybe it's something your kids need, maybe it's something your partner needs, maybe it's something the neighborhood needs, the community needs. Whatever those roles are, that when we start to put ourselves on the back burner and choose ourselves second, and we don't allow ourselves to say yes to something that we want because we feel guilty that we're taking away from maybe something else in the grand scheme of things, that we're taking away maybe 20 minutes from studying with helping your children study, or 20 minutes of sitting with your partner and for that quality time, but your cup is empty. Your cup feels you can't give anymore, and you're trying to give as much as you can, and you can't give from an empty cup. We've heard that over and over again, that you can't just give from an empty cup. And so we have to find those things that fill us up, and that's part of finding my mom identity, and what created this healthy mindset that I've lived in for the last 5 years, and is something that I'm happy to share my knowledge on with you guys as you're growing and learning through the rest of this year and beyond, whatever that looks like, whether you're specifically learning to grow in a certain area or just a student of life and learning in different things, which All of us are a student of life as well. So for that, but finding who I am and finding that healthy mindset has made me feel less of a burnout in my life and made me move into more of a blissful state. Not only am I a mom and a wife, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I am also I have a 9 to 5 job. I'm feel like I'm a really busy human if I say it out on paper, but in my mind I'm not, because I have that mindset of this is what I've got and this is what I can give and this is where I need to be, and it's okay. It's okay for me to be fluid in everything. So here are some of my awesome tips that I'm going to share with you um, over this next little bit to help create that mindset that no matter what roles you're playing in your life, how many things that you've got going on, that saying yes to you is okay. That taking time for you is great. For taking that 20 minutes or hour and a half, whatever that looks like for you, to sit in that warm bubble bath with just the warm water soaking on your skin, the bubbles around you, whether you're drinking your favorite drink, reading a book, or just soaking in the tub, enjoying what that looks like and feels like without wondering, oh, my to-do list is ever growing, and feeling like you're never getting that done. So, tip number 1 is turning off the noise, which is hard. It's easier said than done because sometimes sitting down at the end of the day and mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever social media platform you're on is really nice to unwind. Maybe it's your favorite TV show. Maybe it's Netflix. Maybe it's Hulu, whatever streaming service you've got. Maybe that's what slows you down. Maybe it's just searching stuff that you're interested on Google, planning a trip. Whatever that is, it's okay to just turn it off. Walk away from it. Maybe start with 5 minutes. Put your phone in another room. Don't sit down and pop open your laptop on your couch. Just sit for 5 minutes. And maybe it's time to journal. Maybe it is time to just sit and just kind of breathe. Maybe it's your meditation time. Whatever that is, take that time. Also, because all of us are really great and have been somewhat conditioned to always have something going in our minds, that having your phone and your TV on, and then maybe your computer on the side, that you have your favorite TV show on and you want to pay attention to it, but you're also on your phone scrolling through Instagram because something else is happening, and you're listening, but you're not really comprehending what content is coming through your TV. And then you feel bad you missed the show, but you also had to have all of that going at the same time, or maybe you're Googling something while you're trying to listen. Just everything is so surrounding you that by turning that off, that noise, and taking that 5 minutes to just be, will help you start to get some clarity and maybe direction you want to go. Maybe it's some clarity in just feeling okay for who you are, feeling okay about the day, reflecting on the day, maybe taking that time, that 5 minutes to shut out a work life before you enter your home life, and creating that space of that transition, because that transition is sometimes hard depending on your career path, that work can come home with you and affect this or take over family time. So taking that 5 minutes to just turn off all your noise is going to help just clear your brain to move on to the next thing. Do it in your car, in your garage. I'm not ashamed to say that I've done it in my car, in my garage. I've done it in a parking lot. I have purposely just driven out of my driveway to go get my mail and sat in front of the mailbox for 5 minutes. I've done the quick drive around the block just to clear my brain, where I didn't have any other noise surrounding me, that I could focus on just myself, things that maybe I wanted to work on, things that I felt I needed to improve on, maybe things that I felt like were awesome. And I wanted to celebrate a small win just in my own self. And also by turning off the noise, I'm touching on small wins. Take the time to celebrate them. We don't give enough to the small things that we do in our life. We always have to have that one big win of maybe you accomplish that goal, but you're not celebrating those steps along the way that are leading you to that goal. You want to be 100% in celebrating a huge win. You've got to celebrate the small ones. Then it doesn't feel like it's so not necessarily hard to obtain, but harder to work for because you're celebrating the steps that you're making. Maybe your goal is to save $5,000 for a vacation over the next however long, whatever that looks like for you. Celebrate the first time you save $5. Celebrate the first time you save $15. Those little wins are going to give you that extra pump and motivation to move forward. But to celebrate, you've got to turn off the noise around you. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is your to-do list. Now, I am a huge proponent of this after feeling burnout from an ever-growing to-do list of doing things for a job and it being an entrepreneur and trying to start a business and being mom, that it felt like I had never ending and I never could catch up. That it was, I got to do the laundry, I got to make dinner, I've got to clean my house, make sure my kids are fed, make sure my husband's good to go, get everything I need ready for the next day. And then business things of I've got to write a certain amount of blog posts, emails, make sure I'm getting content put out there. And then just for a 9-to-5 job, whatever tasks I had been assigned, it just felt like I could never catch up. And I was just burnt out. I'd sit at the end of the day being like, I don't even have any desire to do anything else because I can't give anything else. So my tip for you, and this has been super helpful as I've transitioned not only from just a wife to mom to 1 child, but to now to 2 and running a full-time business, is just separating my to-do list into negotiables and non-negotiables. My non-negotiables are things I know I have to do that day and get them done, whether it's for my 9-to-5, whether it's for my business, and whether it's for just what I call household tasks. There are things that have to get done that make it so I don't feel the overwhelm. Then I have my negotiables, which are nice if they get done that day, but if they kind of move down the calendar a little bit, it's okay. It's okay that if maybe the load of laundry didn't get started today, but it's okay if it goes tomorrow. It's fine. Not a big deal. It'll be fine. If I don't write a content piece today, it's fine if I write it tomorrow because I have that balance in my life a little bit of being able to say, these are things that are have tos and these are things that are nice to get done, but if they don't, it's okay. And jumping in and having your kids help if they can, awesome. I have a 2-year-old who has decided that helping is awesome and terrible at the same time. So trying to make it a game, if he can, great. If not, it's fine. I'll work around it and he can jump in and out as needed. So the tip number 1 is just turning off the noise. Tip number 2 is creating a non-negotiable and negotiable to-do list to help scheduling out that time. And we're going to go to our commercial break. But after that, stick around because I've got 2 more good tips for you. So as a reminder, you are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory McGary as your host. And you are listening to the WGSN-DB network, Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcasts, the #1 internet talk radio. We're going to hear our word from our sponsors, and feel free to contact me at Mallory at beautifully-blooming.com or my website at www.beautifully-blooming.com. Hello and welcome back to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory McGary. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet radio talk show. Welcome to back. We are going to go through our next couple of tips for creating a healthy mindset for the 2022 year. Holy smokes. Everything's starting to blur together. The 2022 year, and I am your host, Mallory McGary. I am the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming. I am happy to be with you, and we're just jumping right on in to the other two topics. So our first part of the tips for creating a healthy mindset for the 2022 year was to turn off the noise, just kind of shut everything down for a little bit, get recentered in who we are, being able to make the transitions from work to home life, focusing on something that is just in here, and then everything else will be you'll gain clarity on what you're looking for. And then tip #2 was creating a non-negotiable and negotiable to-do list. So things that have to get done on a specific day. Maybe it's by a specific time, whatever that looks like. And then negotiables being things that they have a deadline, but it's not necessarily have to get done that day. It'll just help not feel the overwhelm of what that looks like. So tip #3 that we've got is being present. And this is something I have found that, along with kind of turning off the noise around you, that being present, you are able to focus on what's happening right then. I can say that for the first time that over a holiday, I didn't really have my camera out for Christmas this year, which was kind of weird. I have a 2-year-old, so it was a big deal to him, but I experienced it through his eyes this year rather than watching it through a lens. I do have some bits and pieces that I've collected from family members, but I experienced it through his eyes, which was a whole new experience as a parent. But it allowed me to really focus on just being. I didn't realize, we're going to rewind circa 2018, that as I was focusing on the things that of growing a career, of trying to start my family, um, I had to have, both of my kids are IVF babies. Um, I didn't realize that was going to be my journey, um, but it was, and I'm grateful that they're both here and that it was a thing that they're able to be a part of my family. But I didn't realize how important being present and creating this mindset around it is, what affects going forward. So as I looked into, started my IVF journey, um, it's a lot that goes along with it. It's not for the faint of heart. So my heart goes out to anyone who has gone through it, is currently going through it, or may go through it in the future. It is not for the faint of heart, and your mindset does play a huge role in that. Also, in starting your family in general, whatever, however that looks for you, that it's not going to be exactly what you wanted it to be. I had a plan in my brain, and it was not that at all. Um, I got pregnant on my first IVF transfer, and 12 weeks later, I miscarried, and it was a real eye opener for me to have this experience, to say, there's something that I can learn from this. I can either make this a total negative experience and let it kind of paint and jade me from everything in the world, or I can let it be a blossoming experience and really learn from it and grow. So, spoiler alert, I chose number two. I let it be a learning experience and a blossoming experience. And as I stepped into a new mindset, knowing that it's going to be the way that I go through this whole process all over again, is going to completely depend on me. That the way I view it is going to be how it's portrayed to my family, who wants to support me and love me, to friends of mine, to my community, whatever that looks like. My mindset and the way I thought about it was going to create the picture around it. And I never wanted this experience to be a bad experience for anybody. And so my mindset was, I've got to create a space where I'm uncomfortable where I'm comfortable in the uncomfortable. And that was telling my story. I'm more than proud to share it now. It is my journey, it is my story, and I'm happy with where it's at. But that became a part of it. That was a part of my journey. That is a part of my story and the person that I am, and it helped shape me. And it could have shaped me for the worse, but I allowed it to shape me for the better. And it all did focus on my intention of how I wanted it to be, how I wanted to view it, and how I wanted those who loved me to view this experience as well. Because the thing I think most of us miss in our communication sometimes, or our experience, is that the way we talk about it and the way that we feel about it will paint the vision for how everybody else is seeing it. It will create their reaction, and how you're reacting will dictate their reaction. So to be aware of how you want it seen and how you want it to be in your mind is how you want to present it to the world. And so through that, now jumping forward back into being present in where you're at, that does take a minute to sit in yourself and to say, I am present here. I'm experiencing this. I am going through the emotions. I'm allowing myself to go through the emotions of whatever situation or whatever experience you're going through, whether it be happy, whether it be sad, whether it be a stretching experience and a growing experience, or whether it just be that small win that we talked about earlier. But you're sitting in that emotion. You're sitting in those emotions and allowing them to run through you to feel that full attention to where you're at, and then jumping forward into where you're moving forward. That's part of, I think, as a human society that we don't allow ourselves to do, that we've always got to be on. We always have to be moving. But it's okay. It's okay. Part of turning off the noise is being present, is really focusing on what's going on around you. And so you're turning off the outside and you're feeling okay sitting in whatever situation, feeling that you're sitting in. You're not going to stay there forever, but it's important that you feel it. If you ignore it, my experience has taught me that it will come back tenfold. And it will be what comes out in the tenfold is the bottom of the iceberg. What is the top of the iceberg could be something small of maybe the toilet paper roll got put on wrong or didn't get put on the roll at all. That could be the start, the tipping point, kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And then it just tumbles down and everything comes out, and it's a lot more than you anticipated. But through my journey and this mindset journey over the last 5 years, so that I've taken the time to sit in those emotions, and then I could go forward, and I moved forward with a better purpose and a better mindset and that intention in going forward and how I wanted to either show up for myself, show up for people around me, depending on the situation. And I became a stronger person because of it. So tip number 3 is to being present and to feeling okay in that stretching moment and being who you are. And tip number 4 is listening to your intuition. Now, I know that most of the time you get told to trust your gut. I've been told it. So in my span of 34 years that I've been told since I was little, since I can remember, that it's okay to trust your gut. Your gut knows. And it always just has that feeling. Somewhere along the way, my brain decided to join in the party and would fight a little bit. There's some logical feelings that will come through, and then my gut is more of my emotional based feelings. And so they tend to war sometimes of how to feel one way or the other, whether it's they're both trying to tell you the same thing. This is my experience. So there are times when it feels like I'm trying to get told to do the same thing, but my emotions feel different than the logic behind it. So it makes it hard to trust what I'm feeling inside. So then you go through all the advice. If you're anything like me, I go through and ask everyone I know for advice, everyone. And then I pick and choose who I want to listen to. That has worked out sometimes, hasn't worked out all the time. But it also allowed me to not feel like I really knew who I was, who as a person, what my intuition feels like, what my yes feels like, what my go for it, we'll see kind of how it goes feels like, or the girl, no, there's no way that this is going to be a thing. You can't have this in your life. It's not good for you. Whatever, all of those different types of feelings. By asking for advice from everyone, it allowed me to not have to feel and to trust what my own body and my own mind were saying. I've come to find through my research and studying that your body knows more than your brain. Your body will tell you when something is wrong. Your body will tell you when it's not good for you. It's just listening to that, listening to what that is. And your intuition is usually defined as your ability to understand something That's pretty much exactly what it is. It's your understanding of what it is in the moment, and you know if it's good for you or not good for you. And trusting what that looks like is a huge thing. You um there it doesn't need necessarily a conscious reasoning. Like I said, your body just knows. It just knows what is good, what's not. There's not a lot of logic behind some of it. There is logic behind some decisions, obviously, but sometimes there's not the logic behind it. It just doesn't make sense in here. So you're not going to follow it, or you're going to follow it and find out what's at the other end of that tunnel. Your body will also just can give you those light bulb moments, maybe in what during a situation, during a decision of saying, yep, I get it. Yes, this is a thing. Nope. We started down this path. It's not good. We're going to backtrack a little bit and we're going to move forward somewhere else or keep going. It will pick up and let you know where that point is. So trust yourself. It's hard sometimes to do that, especially in a world that has a lot of noise. So going back to tip number 1, turning off the noise, you can sit and listen to what your body's telling you and have that conversation with yourself. Yes, if you see me in my town in a parking lot, there are times that I'm just talking to myself. So trying to figure it out. This is me listening to my intuition. I'm having a conversation with it. Try it if you haven't. I have conversations with my intuition or myself a lot in trying to make different decisions as a business owner, as a parent, as a wife, as a daughter, all the roles I play, that everything just kind of sits in my mindset and helps kind of lead me and guide me into where I want it to go. So, listening to your intuition, trusting your gut can be hard, but it also comes with practice. But I've also found that through my journey, it's uncomfortable to listen to yourself for a minute when there's so much going on that somebody else has got to have a better answer. Somebody else has got to be doing it better. Somebody else has got to just know what that is. But nobody knows you better than you. So it's listening to yourself and taking that time to learn what those cues are in your body of what a strong yes is, what maybe we'll test it is, maybe a stop, we're going to reverse for a minute and roll a different path and try that out, what that answer is, or just a nope, 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 nope. Right? I'm trying to understand that still. I am a human. I am still a work in progress. So it's still something that I'm working on and understanding. But by doing that and listening to my intuition, it has allowed me to fill what I call a missing piece in my life, which was my business and how I wanted it to go forward. Jumping back to earlier in this conversation, we talked about how I just let a business die because it wasn't exactly what I wanted to portray to the world. It wasn't me. It didn't feel like me. It felt like a jumping point and something that I knew, but not enough that it would just make me stand out and make me feel okay doing. And so by listening to my intuition and practicing this intention and this mindset of I'm setting an intention to try and grow as a human and become a better person and find really who I am again after becoming a wife and after becoming a mom. I just got burnt out on everything, trying to do everything at once and not knowing what filled me back up inside, filled up my cup that allowed me to share my love and my joy with everybody else in my life, that I was always running on empty, that I just wanted to sit and not even have my brain cells fire anything anymore. It was so just, I was exhausted. And by taking the time to listen to my intuition of saying, this is not the business you wanted, quit trying to push it. Quit trying to find a passion in something that you don't love. And going through that journey, now I've ended up here, a business I love, a topic that is huge and important to me, as I have watched clients of mine and friends of mine go through this experience. And as I've coached them along their journey to finding the person that they are, and that it was okay to not say, I have to be all of these things and I cannot do anything for myself, that allowed them to just open the door of one saying yes to themselves one time. Whether I had friends that their saying yes to themselves was hiding in their pantry with their Diet Coke and their chocolate bar, hiding from their kids. And just to have 5 minutes of just, this is just me. I get to eat something that I love and to move forward, which has taken them steps and steps and steps to being able to say, I can go out for dinner tonight and it's fine. And I don't feel guilty for leaving my kids at home, either with a babysitter, with their partner, whatever that looked like in their life. But they could say yes and feel okay with doing it and not feel guilty of saying, well, I'm taking away the time with them, but looking at it with a different mindset of, I'm going forward and filling up my cup because then I can give more to them. So think about, mindset is also shifting the way you look at something. It's not all the same. I'm going to take parenting as a prime example. For the place I live, it's very easy to start to compare with different parents of, this mom can do this mom's got this going on, this, all of these things of, well, this family's doing all of these things, this family's doing all of these things, that you start to feel like you're failing somewhere as a parent, that maybe you're not going to Disneyland, but excuse me, the neighbors are. Maybe your family likes to go boating on the lake every weekend, and that's how you connect as a family rather than going to stay at a hotel somewhere. That's how another family connects. You're not doing it wrong, you're just doing it different. There's no right or wrong in this. I'm probably preaching to the choir in saying all of this, but my idea of parenting also is anything short of dead at the end of the day. We've done great. Yes, we're going to have our ups through the day. Yes, we're going to have our down through the day. We're going to have our mediocre moments. We're going to have moments of discipline, which, to say my son does not love. He doesn't like to be told no. It's usually his way or the highway. So that's kind of a constant battle between the two of us. But at the end of the day, we are fine. We've learned together. We've grown together. We've learned things that worked, learned things that didn't work. I know he's not going to be so upset that maybe the neighbors went on vacation and we stayed home and we went and explored our city. He won't be upset. And in the long run, we created memories, and that's great. That's all I was looking for in the long run, right? We're all winging it. It's also my other theory in parenting. We're all winging it. We're all doing our best. We're trying. Every kid does not come with a manual. Wish they did some days, but we're doing our best. We're doing our best with what we've learned, what we've observed, what we had in our lives, to be the best at whatever we're doing, and being the example and role model that you want to be for your kids. They see me working, they work with me, they work alongside me, they help me, but I want my kids to know that their dreams are attainable no matter what age you are, no matter how big they may feel, how scary they may feel, that by doing the work and going through and setting that intention and just listening to yourself, you can make it. That's how I got where I am. And they're along for the ride and they're going to learn the same thing. So, no, as a parent, you're doing great. Nobody tells you that enough. You're doing great. You are doing exactly what you need to do. You are doing exactly the best that you can for your kids, and you're showing up for them. Plain and simple, that's what you need to do. Show up for them. But you can't show up for them until you show up for yourself and give yourself the same love and appreciation that you would to your kids. So, finding your intuition, creating that list of negotiables and non-negotiables, being present, and taking the time to turn off the noise around you. Those are my simple 4 tips into starting a healthy mindset for a brand new year. Maybe something on your goal is to have more quality family time. Starts right here. Being able to turn off just the noise for however long that looks like, whatever that is. Being present. I know how easy it is to want to film or take pictures of everything that may be going on in your life. You want to capture those moments. I fully admit, full transparency, my camera roll is of both of my kids nonstop doing things that I want to remember. But there are times when things are happening and I start to get out my phone and I said, nope, I'm just going to remember this in my mind because I don't need to document everything. I don't want them to see everything through a lens. I want to experience it first person, firsthand, and have that being in my mind. And those are great too. Those are perfect. And that's me being present with my kids. So being able to turn off the noise has allowed me to, as a human in general, I've been able to put my phone down a little bit in moments that I think, oh, I should totally capture this, and just say, I'm going to live it and be here and be present. So the two kind of combined themselves together in that allowed me to be present in that moment and to feel that. And my intention is to remember it. And I can remember that. And so that's a wonderful thing of being able to have that mindset of, and trusting myself to say, it's okay if I don't. It's okay if it's not documented in the clouds, whatever clouds you subscribe to. I have like 5, I feel like, but that it's okay if it just lives right here, right? What did you do as a kid? Everything lives right here. There's pictures, sure. My growing up years, I have pictures of like family trips and everything, but to get out the camera and then to take a picture and then to go develop the film and all of that just was so cumbersome and wasn't quite as quick that there's a lot of memories in my brain. There's photo evidence of some of it along the way, but not everything. Video recorders, same thing. You had to put in the tape. You had to make sure the battery was charged, take the lens cap off, all of those things that it just got kind of cumbersome and wasn't quick in the moment to get out. So something else to think about, being present, of just sitting and listening to what that was, and to being that. The non-negotiables and negotiables helped me feel a lot more in control of my schedule, helped me feel less burnt out, that it was okay if I did not empty the dishwasher that day. It was fine. I could do it the next morning and refill it back up with dishes. I could do it later that day. It didn't have to get done by a certain time. It could have happened when I got ready for bed or before I went to bed or the next morning. Whatever that looked like, it was fine. It didn't have to be done that day. But the things that I needed to get done and were super important to get done that day, they happened. Major win. Celebrate that win. Celebrate the moment of saying, hey, I accomplished what I needed to accomplish today. And these things, I was able to say, meh, I'm going to slow down a little bit. Feel okay in being you. My goal in having that type of a schedule was to allow myself to be more present and to have a little bit more fluidity. My personality is not one that allows for a lot of fluidity. So it's a practice that I've had to consciously work on, that fluidity is okay. And to having that negotiable and non-negotiables has allowed me to be okay if I step away for 20 minutes during a middle of something I was working on, to read a book to my son, or to take the time for him to tell me a story, or just play with him, whatever that looks like, or to connect with my daughter, or whatever, however that is at that moment, that it was okay. I didn't have to have everything done at one time. And as part of being a recovering perfectionist, that it didn't have to always be perfect. If it got done, it got done, and it had still my quality to it, but it didn't have to be absolutely perfect. It was okay if it was still a little bit of a work in progress. So as that's kind of led me to being able to be a little bit more fluid in my life and with the different things that are going on, and then just turning off the noise. They all are interconnected. They all combine together as one big ball, but those four tips are what's going to start and catapult a healthy mindset for the next year, and what that looks like. So take that in for a win. Take that as for what it is. Celebrate your small wins. Celebrate the moments that you say, I'm sitting in and being present. I've turned off my phone for 5 minutes. I've found something that is okay for me to do. So enjoy the rest of this year. And I look forward to sharing all of my wonderful tips over the next year. And again, you're listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcasts, the #1 internet talk network. And you're listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I'm your host, Mallory McGary, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. You can get a hold of me by emailing me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com, or find my website at www.beautifullyblooming.com. Have a great one. Bye.